tell us all about this ingenious product and how we're going to come back to this throughout the day, throughout the show today. What is Spate? How should we be using this? How can we use this to potentially live happier, healthier lives through all these ages and stages?
Of course. Thanks, Bryce. So you can think about Spate as almost this crystal ball, right? What do the next 12 months hold for wellness, for health, for beauty, but all through the eyes of the consumer? So instead of, consulting experts like yourself, it's like, what do consumers look for? What are they looking for on Google, TikTok, Instagram? And then what does that mean for different wellness trends, right? We're seeing creatine explode, like we saw magnesium explode, probiotics, and now we're seeing that carry into childhood trends,
right?
Which is really interesting.
We were talking off camera a moment ago as well. That's how our patients are often now coming to us, maybe the last 6 months, a year, with differential diagnoses that they've gathered through not just Google anymore, on ChatGPT.
Yeah. So you have patients, requesting their health update from ChatGPT, and then coming to us. Is this really what the real answer is? So
it's bonkers. And again, I was kind of quipping that in this day and age, if you want cancer, you can almost imagine it just by doing a Google search. I will reiterate, by the way, on this show, on the first 7 years, we're very evidence-based, as we're about to be through Spate as well, but we like to refer to open evidence. We like to refer to consensus. These are both free versions, folks, online that you can look at that will do a far better job than your language model, maybe that'll get better, but these are evidence-based. And by the way, they're AI-driven. So we're not against AI, leverage the heck out of it, but make sure you're at a resource that it really understands the data, because this can get crazy. You don't want to have cancer just because your AI's diluted.
Because you asked them.
Yeah. So Hannah, you mentioned probiotics, and of course, Dr. Murray's sort of trend analysis outside of AI is also that in this day and age, brain-gut connection and everything else. How would one, starting with, in utero, so now, mom's pregnant and maybe she's thinking about probiotics are a good idea. How can she look at maybe starting with something like Spate to determine what these, what probiotics are out there, what's trending, what's, working for people, why they're looking toward probiotics? I mean, give us a little bit more insight as to how we might use this tool.
Yeah, let's pull up probiotics. So type it in the search bar, and let's see what's been happening over the past 3 years, and then what the next 12 months look like. And I think what's interesting here is at Spate, we work with brands mostly, right? And they're coming in here and they're understanding what are those consumer needs that are unmet, and how do we create a product out of that? Or how do we better advertise to consumers so they feel like they're getting what they want? So you see probiotics here, they're predicted to grow almost another 50%. That's huge considering how large the market already is. There's so many different brands you could buy, but there's already so much room for grose beyond this, which is crazy.
Yeah, let's pay attention. Let's just zoom in on this for a second here, because this is really the IP, or one of the biggest, most interesting aspects of Spate is it'll give you real time, and you'll be able to see that. But this crystal ball, as you alluded to at the end here, this is like a year's worth of predicted analysis as to where we expect probiotics to be throughout 2026, right? How are you doing that, or how is Spate doing that?
So what we're doing is we are founded by two ex-Googlers, right? And they noticed that people were Google searching things like crazy, like they are with LLMs now. So they took this data, they run it through machine learning. It's a fancy word for AI. And then we're looking at patterns, behaviors to understand what is the predicted growth. And now we have a 72% accuracy rate in predicting these trends. And if you scroll down, what's nice is we give you this little green bar on the right saying, will it last? We're telling you how likely this is to last. So sometimes we're uncertain, right? Sometimes trends can be really volatile. It's hard to predict consumer behavior, but sometimes we're very certain that a trend will last. And in this case, what's interesting with probiotics is gut health is the number one concern. That's what's driving people to buy probiotics, is their gut health.
Interesting.
And what platforms are you drawing the info from?
From Google, TikTok, Instagram. And if you scroll up, I think what's really interesting here, if you scroll all the way to the top, TikTok is the dominating platform here. And I think parents especially feel really overwhelmed by the amount of information on TikTok because you see video after video. And if you note down here, there's about 42% of these videos that are paid. So it's brands pushing this content to you. Right. So I think as a parent, you have to be careful with what type of content you're ingesting and then how you're using that information.
Let's stick on that for a moment, though, because, I mean, what is it that, a parent can, a new mom, a pregnant mom, a mom of young children, a father, parents of young children, what is it that they can actually identify in a piece of media that might alert them to it being fully paid brand endorsement versus educational or maybe informational?
That's a great question, and we can do this on the dashboard too. So I would start to look for hashtags that say paid partner, ad. So if you scroll down, we actually track the amount of commercial content. You can see these are all tagged paid videos here. So this video, you see the second video here, this might look like, oh, it's an organic video. He's just talking about different side effects he has or signs of bad gut health. But this is actually a paid post that he's doing. So it's really hard to identify. We think back 5 years ago, it was very obvious. This isn't a very obvious paid partnership with Goalie.
Got it.
Interesting. By the way, just to note, we were in a global market there because you're able to shift between, U.S., UK, France, South Korea, Japan, and global. So I guess our audience is probably most interested in the U.S. market here.
If you go up, look at that paid number for U.S. 80%.
80%
in the U.S.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So besides the hashtag, any other signs that you're watching, something that you're just trying to be influenced to purchase?
I've noticed this new tactic where it's a series of pictures on TikTok, and it'll go by a concern. It'll be like, are you struggling with your gut? And you think as a consumer, yes, I am. And it goes through all of these signs, and you're like, oh, this person's speaking to me. The last picture is always some sort of product they're trying to sell you. So just be mindful of that when you are looking at content, especially as a mom, as a parent. You want to do everything for your child. So you're like, yes, buy, but do your research before you're purchasing something.